Come, my dear, gather round and let me tell you a tale that weighs heavy on the heart. In these modern days, where loyalty seems as fleeting as the morning mist, I found myself cast aside like an old tool no longer needed. 17 long years I toiled, faithful and true, only to be dismissed without so much as a whisper of warning. But mark my words, there was more beneath the surface, secrets hidden in shadows, betrayals sharp as a dagger's edge, family ties strained to breaking, trust shattered like fragile glass, and a thirst for justice that burns cold and calculated. This is a story of pain, of cunning revenge, and the bitter lessons learned when those we hold dear turn their backs without a second thought. Being suddenly dismissed after 17 years of dedicated service is a shock that reverberates through every fiber of one's being. It is not merely the loss of a job, it is the abrupt severing of a connection that has been nurtured over nearly 2 decades. When a person commits such a significant portion of their life to a company, they invest more than just time. They invest trust, loyalty, and a sense of identity. The workplace becomes a second home, colleagues become like family, and the daily routine forms the backbone of one's existence. To be cast aside without warning is to have that foundation violently shaken, leaving one adrift in a sea of uncertainty and disbelief. For 17 years, the individual had shown unwavering commitment, arriving early, staying late, and weathering the inevitable ups and downs that come with any long-term position. They had witnessed changes in management, shifts in company culture, and the ebb and flow of business fortunes. Through it all, they remained steadfast, believing that their loyalty and hard work would be recognized and rewarded. The sudden termination, therefore, feels not only unjust but incomprehensible. It is as if all those years of dedication were rendered meaningless in an instant, as though the person had been nothing more than a disposable asset. The lack of any prior warning compounds the shock. No performance reviews hinting at dissatisfaction, no discussions about potential restructuring, no subtle signs that the end was near. Instead, the dismissal comes like a bolt from the blue, leaving the individual scrambling to make sense of what has happened. This absence of communication is a betrayal in itself, a failure of respect and transparency that deepens the wound. It suggests that the employer saw the employee not as a valued human being, but as a mere cog in a machine, easily replaced and discarded without explanation. The emotional impact of such a sudden dismissal is profound. Feelings of confusion, anger, and hurt swirl together, creating a storm of emotions that can be difficult to navigate. The individual may question their own worth, wondering if they somehow failed or if there was something they missed. They may replay every interaction, searching for clues or signs that could have foretold this outcome. The sense of betrayal cuts deep, especially when the person had believed in the company's mission and felt a genuine connection to their work and colleagues. Financial concerns quickly follow emotional turmoil. After 17 years, the individual likely relied on the stability of their income to support themselves and their family. The sudden loss of a paycheck brings immediate stress and uncertainty about the future. Bills, mortgages, and daily expenses do not pause for personal crises. This practical reality adds another layer of anxiety to an already difficult situation, forcing the individual to confront not only emotional pain, but also the harsh demands of survival. Social identity is also affected. For many, Their job is a significant part of how they define themselves. It provides a sense of purpose, accomplishment, and belonging. Losing that role can lead to a crisis of identity, as the individual struggles to reconcile who they are without the title and responsibilities they have carried for so long. This can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness, as the daily interactions and routines that once provided structure and connection suddenly disappear. The sudden dismissal also raises questions about fairness and justice. The individual may feel wronged, believing that their years of service should have earned them at least a modicum of respect and consideration. They may wonder about the motives behind the decision. Was it purely financial, a result of office politics, or something more personal? The lack of transparency fuels suspicion and resentment, making it difficult to move forward without a sense of closure or understanding. In the aftermath, the individual may begin to reflect on the nature of loyalty and trust in the workplace. They may question whether their dedication was truly valued or if it was taken for granted. This can lead to a more guarded approach in future relationships, a reluctance to invest so deeply again. The experience serves as a harsh lesson about the fragility of job security and the importance of self-reliance. Despite the pain and upheaval, the sudden dismissal can also be a catalyst for change. It forces the individual to reassess their goals, skills, and priorities. It may open the door to new opportunities that were previously unconsidered or unattainable. The shock of being let go without warning can ignite a determination to prove oneself anew, to rebuild and reclaim a sense of purpose and dignity. Throughout this ordeal, the individual must navigate a complex web of emotions and practical challenges. They must find ways to cope with the initial shock, manage financial pressures, and rebuild their professional identity. Support from family, friends, and professional networks becomes crucial, providing encouragement and guidance during a time of uncertainty. The experience also highlights the importance of communication and respect in employer-employee relationships. It underscores the need for organizations to handle terminations with transparency and compassion, recognizing the human impact of such decisions. For the individual, it is a reminder to maintain awareness of their own value and to prepare for the unexpected, even in situations that seem stable and secure. In the end, the sudden, unexpected dismissal after 17 years is more than just a job loss. It is a profound upheaval that challenges one's sense of self, security, and trust. It is a moment that tests resilience and character, demanding strength and courage to face the unknown and to forge a new path forward. Beneath the surface of any seemingly straightforward dismissal lies a world of hidden knowledge and secrets, the kind that only a few are privy to. In this story, the protagonist's sudden firing after 17 years was not just a random act of corporate decision-making, but was intertwined with information that the employer did not fully understand or anticipate. This hidden knowledge became the silent force that shaped the unfolding events. A secret weapon that the protagonist held close even as they were cast aside. For years, the individual had quietly observed and gathered insights that went beyond their official duties. They had access to information, patterns, and nuances that others overlooked or dismissed. This knowledge was not always documented or formalized. It was the kind of understanding that comes from experience, intuition, and a keen eye for detail. It was the subtle awareness of the company's inner workings, the unspoken dynamics between key players, and the undercurrents of decisions made behind closed doors. This hidden knowledge gave the protagonist a unique perspective. While the employer saw only the surface, performance metrics, attendance records, and formal evaluations, the individual understood the deeper context. They knew about vulnerabilities in the company's strategy, weaknesses in leadership, and potential risks that had not yet come to light. This awareness was a double-edged sword. It made the protagonist invaluable, yet also placed them in a precarious position as they held truths that could disrupt the status quo. The employer's failure to recognize or appreciate this hidden knowledge was a critical mistake. By dismissing the individual without warning, they underestimated the power of what the protagonist knew. This oversight would prove costly, as the secrets and insights the individual possessed could be leveraged in ways the employer had not anticipated. The dismissal was not just a loss of an employee, but a loss of critical intelligence that had been quietly accumulated over many years. The nature of this hidden knowledge varied. It could have involved financial irregularities, unethical practices, or strategic missteps that were deliberately concealed from most staff. Perhaps the protagonist had uncovered discrepancies in accounting, witnessed favoritism or corruption, or identified flaws in product development that threatened the company's future. Whatever the specifics, the knowledge was sensitive and potentially explosive, capable of undermining the employer's position if revealed. Holding such knowledge placed the protagonist in a position of power, albeit one that had to be wielded with caution. They understood the risks of exposure, both to themselves and to others. Revealing the secrets could lead to retaliation, legal battles, or damage to reputations. Yet keeping the information hidden also meant living with the burden of silence, knowing that injustice had been done and that the truth remained buried. This dynamic created a complex psychological landscape. The protagonist grappled with feelings of frustration and anger at being dismissed despite their loyalty and the critical insights they held. They also experienced a sense of vindication, knowing that they possessed information that others did not. This duality fueled a determination to use their knowledge strategically, to seek justice or revenge in a way that was calculated and effective. The hidden knowledge also influenced the protagonist's relationships within the company. They had to navigate a delicate balance between discretion and assertiveness, choosing carefully whom to trust and when to speak out. This often meant working behind the scenes, gathering evidence, and building alliances without drawing attention. The secrecy surrounding the information added a layer of tension and suspense to their daily interactions. From the employer's perspective, the dismissal was likely seen as a routine business decision, perhaps motivated by cost-cutting, restructuring, or performance concerns. However, their lack of awareness about the protagonist's hidden knowledge left them vulnerable. They failed to anticipate the consequences of their actions, underestimating the individual's capacity to respond and the potential fallout from the secrets they carried. The protagonist's hidden knowledge became a form of leverage, a means to challenge the employer's authority and decisions. It shifted the power dynamic, transforming the individual from a passive victim into an active agent capable of influencing outcomes. This shift was subtle but profound, as it introduced an element of unpredictability and risk for the employer. In practical terms, The protagonist might have used their knowledge to expose wrongdoing, negotiate settlements, or protect their own interests. They could have documented evidence, reached out to regulatory bodies, or shared information with trusted confidants. Each action required careful calculation, weighing the potential benefits against the risks of retaliation or escalation. The presence of hidden knowledge also affected the broader context of the story. It highlighted themes of secrecy, trust, and the complexity of human relationships within organizations. It underscored the idea that what is visible on the surface often conceals deeper truths, and that understanding these truths requires insight, courage, and sometimes sacrifice. For the protagonist, the hidden knowledge was both a burden and a weapon. It shaped their response to the dismissal, informing their decisions and fueling their resolve. It also provided a sense of control in a situation where they had been blindsided, allowing them to reclaim agency and influence the narrative. This secret understanding was not static. It evolved over time as the protagonist gathered more information, reassessed their position, and planned their next moves. It required vigilance and adaptability as the stakes changed and new challenges emerged. The hidden knowledge became a living force within the story, driving tension and conflict. The employer's ignorance of this knowledge was a critical blind spot. It revealed a failure of communication and awareness that ultimately undermined their authority. It also exposed vulnerabilities in their management practices, suggesting that they had not fully grasped the complexities of their own organization. In the end, the hidden knowledge was a key element that transformed the story from a simple tale of dismissal into a complex drama of power, betrayal, and revenge. It added depth and nuance, illustrating how information can be both a shield and a sword in the struggle for justice and survival. The deep sense of betrayal and broken trust that follows a sudden dismissal after 17 years of loyal service is a wound that cuts far beyond the professional realm. It strikes at the very core of one's belief in fairness, loyalty, and the bonds that tie people together in both work and life. When trust is shattered, it leaves behind a landscape of emotional turmoil, confusion, and a profound sense of loss that can be difficult to articulate or overcome. For nearly 2 decades, the individual had placed their faith in the employer, believing that their dedication and hard work would be met with respect and reciprocity. This trust was built gradually through countless interactions, shared challenges, and mutual reliance. It was not merely a contractual relationship, but a bond forged through time and experience. The workplace had become a place of stability and identity, where promises, spoken or unspoken, were expected to be honored. The sudden termination without warning or explanation is a betrayal of that trust. It signals that the employer no longer values the individual's contributions or loyalty, reducing years of commitment to a single dismissive act. This breach is not just professional, but deeply personal, shaking the foundation of the individual's sense of security and self-worth. It is as if the very ground beneath them has been pulled away, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. The emotional impact of this betrayal is multifaceted. Initially, there may be shock and disbelief, a refusal to accept that such an injustice could occur. This is often followed by feelings of anger and resentment, directed both at the employer and at the situation itself. The individual may feel used, discarded, and dehumanized, as though their years of service were nothing more than a means to an end. This sense of being undervalued and betrayed can lead to bitterness and a loss of faith in others. Broken trust also affects the individual's relationships beyond the workplace. Family and friends may witness the emotional fallout, offering support, but also sharing in the pain. The individual may become withdrawn or defensive, struggling to reconcile their experience with their previous beliefs about loyalty and fairness. This can create tension and conflict within personal relationships, as the emotional burden spills over into other areas of life. A betrayal may also lead to self-doubt and introspection. The individual might question their own judgment, wondering if they missed signs or failed to protect themselves. They may replay past events, searching for explanations or reasons that could justify the employer's actions. This internal struggle can be exhausting and demoralizing, as it challenges deeply held assumptions about trust and human nature. In the workplace context, trust is a fundamental currency. It enables collaboration, communication, and a sense of belonging. When trust is broken, it disrupts these dynamics, creating an environment of suspicion and fear. For the individual who has been betrayed, this can result in a reluctance to engage or invest in future professional relationships. The experience becomes a cautionary tale, shaping how they approach work and trust moving forward. The betrayal also raises questions about the nature of loyalty and reciprocity. The individual may feel that their loyalty was one-sided, given freely but not returned. This imbalance can lead to a reevaluation of what it means to be loyal and to whom that loyalty should be extended. It may foster a more guarded or pragmatic approach in the future, where trust is earned rather than assumed. The employer's actions, or lack thereof, contribute significantly to the depth of the betrayal. The absence of communication, explanation, or acknowledgement of the individual's years of service amplifies the sense of being discarded. It suggests a lack of respect and empathy, reinforcing the perception that the individual was never truly valued. This cold and impersonal treatment can be more damaging than the dismissal itself. The broken trust also has practical implications. It can affect the individual's reputation, career prospects, and financial stability. The sudden loss of employment may lead to gaps in the resume, questions from future employers, and challenges in securing new opportunities. The emotional toll can impact performance and confidence, creating a cycle that is difficult to break. In some cases, the betrayal may lead to legal or formal disputes as the individual seeks redress or clarification. These processes can be lengthy and stressful, further straining emotional and financial resource. The pursuit of justice becomes intertwined with the need to restore trust and dignity, adding complexity to an already painful situation. The experience of betrayal and broken trust is not unique to the workplace. It resonates with universal themes of human relationships and expectations. It highlights the fragility of trust and the profound impact its loss can have on individuals and communities. It serves as a reminder of the importance of integrity, communication, and respect in all interactions. For the individual, healing from this betrayal requires time, support, and reflection. It involves rebuilding self-esteem, redefining personal and professional goals, and learning to navigate relationships with a renewed sense of caution and wisdom. The journey is often challenging, but can lead to growth and resilience. The broken trust also shapes the narrative of the story, providing emotional depth and motivation. It fuels the desire for understanding, justice, and in some cases, revenge. The protagonist's response to this betrayal becomes a central theme, driving actions and decisions that reflect the complexity of human emotions and the quest for restoration. Throughout this ordeal, the individual must confront the painful reality that trust, once broken, is difficult to repair. They must grapple with the consequences of betrayal and find ways to move forward without losing their sense of self. This process is deeply personal and varies depending on the individual's circumstances, values, and support systems. The story of betrayal and broken trust after 17 years of service is a powerful exploration of loyalty, injustice, and the human capacity to endure and respond to profound hurt. It reveals the vulnerabilities inherent in trusting relationships and the strength required to face and overcome betrayal. Family conflict often weaves itself into the fabric of personal and professional crises, complicating already difficult situations with layers of emotional complexity and divided loyalties. When a person is suddenly fired after 17 years of service, the ripple effects extend far beyond the workplace, touching the lives of family members who may be directly or indirectly involved. The intersection of job loss and family dynamics creates a volatile environment where stress, misunderstanding, and unresolved tensions can escalate rapidly. In many families, the breadwinner's employment status is closely tied to the household's financial stability and emotional well-being. A sudden dismissal threatens this foundation, introducing uncertainty and anxiety that affect everyone under the same roof. The individual who has lost their job may feel a profound sense of responsibility and guilt, worrying about how their family will cope with the loss of income and the disruption of daily life. This pressure can strain relationships as family members react in different ways to the crisis. Some family members may offer unwavering support, standing by the individual and providing encouragement and reassurance. Others, however, might express frustration, disappointment, or even blame, especially if the dismissal leads to financial hardship or forces lifestyle changes. These conflicting reactions can create tension and conflict within the family as each person grapples with their own fears and expectations. The individual at the center of the storm may feel isolated, caught between the need for support and the weight of others' judgments. The emotional toll of job loss can exacerbate existing family issues or bring underlying conflicts to the surface. Long-standing disagreements, communication breakdowns, or unresolved resentments may intensify in the face of new stressors. The individual's sense of self-worth and identity, already shaken by the dismissal, may be further undermined by family discord. This can lead to feelings of alienation and despair, making it harder to cope with the challenges ahead. In some cases, family members may become involved in the situation more directly. They might offer advice, intervene in disputes, or even take sides in conflicts related to the dismissal. This involvement can be a double-edged sword, providing valuable support, but also complicating matters if opinions differ or if emotions run high. The boundaries between personal and professional life blur, making it difficult to separate the issues and find constructive solutions. The financial impact of the dismissal often necessitates difficult decisions within the family. Budget cuts, changes in living arrangements, or the need for additional income can create stress and disagreement. Family members may have to adjust their expectations and priorities, which can lead to resentment or feelings of loss. The individual who was fired may struggle with feelings of inadequacy or failure, especially if they perceive themselves as the primary provider. Children in the family may also be affected, even if they are not fully aware of the situation's details. They may sense the tension and worry, which can influence their behavior and emotional health. Parents may find it challenging to shield their children from the fallout, balancing honesty with reassurance. The family's overall atmosphere may shift, with increased stress and uncertainty permeating daily life. The dynamics of family conflict in this context are further complicated by cultural, social, and personal factors. Different families have varying expectations about roles, responsibilities, and communication styles. These differences influence how members respond to crisis and conflict. For some, open dialogue and collective problem-solving are the norm. For others, silence and avoidance may prevail. Understanding these nuances is crucial to navigating the challenges that arise. The individual's relationship with their spouse or partner is often the most directly impacted. The stress of job loss can strain intimacy, communication, and mutual support. Financial worries, changes in daily routines, and emotional upheaval may lead to arguments or withdrawal. At the same time, this period can also be an opportunity for growth and strengthening bonds if both partners work together to face the adversity. Extended family members may also play a role, offering support or conversely adding pressure. Their opinions and involvement can influence the individual's decisions and emotional state. In some cases, family conflict may arise from differing views on how to handle the dismissal or its consequences. Navigating these external influences requires diplomacy and resilience. The presence of family conflict adds a layer of complexity to the individual's response to their dismissal. It can affect their ability to focus on finding new employment, pursuing legal action, or planning revenge. Emotional exhaustion and divided attention may hinder decision-making and strategic thinking. Conversely, family support can provide a vital source of strength and motivation, helping the individual to persevere. Communication within the family becomes critical during this time. Open, honest conversations about feelings, expectations, and plans can help to reduce misunderstandings and build solidarity. However, achieving this level of communication is often challenging, especially when emotions are raw and tensions high. Professional counseling or mediation may be beneficial in some cases to facilitate dialogue and healing. The interplay between family conflict and the individual's professional crisis also highlights broader themes of loyalty, trust, and resilience. It underscores how personal and work lives are deeply interconnected and how challenges in one area inevitably affect the other. The story of sudden dismissal is not just about a job lost, but about the ripple effects that touch every aspect of life. In some narratives, family conflict may serve as a catalyst for the protagonist's actions, influencing their decisions and fueling their desire for revenge or justice. The need to protect or restore family honor, provide for loved ones, or prove oneself can be powerful motivators. At the same time, family tensions may create obstacles that complicate the path forward. The emotional landscape shaped by family conflict is rich and varied, encompassing love, loyalty, anger, disappointment, and hope. It reflects the complexity of human relationships and the challenges of navigating crises together. The individual's journey through dismissal and its aftermath is thus not only a professional struggle, but a deeply personal one, intertwined with the lives and hearts of those closest to them. Understanding the role of family conflict in this context provides insight into the broader human experience of loss, resilience, and the quest for justice. It reveals how the bonds of family can both support and challenge us, shaping our responses to adversity and our capacity to heal and grow. Sharp, calculated revenge is a theme that often emerges from the depths of betrayal and broken trust, especially when the wounds run deep and the desire for justice or retribution burns fiercely. In the context of being fired after 17 years without warning, the protagonist's response is not one of impulsive anger, but of deliberate, strategic planning. This form of revenge is methodical, carefully crafted to achieve maximum impact while minimizing personal risk, reflecting a mind honed by experience and a heart steeled by pain. The decision to pursue revenge is rarely taken lightly. It arises from a complex mix of emotions: hurt, anger, humiliation, and a profound sense of injustice. For someone who has dedicated nearly 2 decades to an employer, the sudden dismissal without warning is not just a professional setback, but a personal affront. The betrayal cuts deep, and the need to respond becomes a way to reclaim dignity and assert control over a situation that initially felt powerless. Calculated revenge differs from rash retaliation in its emphasis on planning and precision. The protagonist understands that acting out of pure emotion can lead to self-destruction or unintended consequences. Instead, they take time to assess the situation, gather information, and identify vulnerabilities. This approach requires patience, discipline, and a clear vision of the desired outcome. Whether it be exposing wrongdoing, regaining lost respect, or inflicting consequences on those responsible. The process begins with reflection and analysis. The protagonist reviews the circumstances surrounding their dismissal, seeking to understand the motivations and weaknesses of the employer and key decision-makers. They may uncover inconsistencies, unethical behavior, or breaches of contract that can be leveraged. This phase involves careful documentation and the collection of evidence, transforming personal grievance into a strategic asset. Networking and alliances play a crucial role in executing calculated revenge. The protagonist may reach out to former colleagues, industry contacts, or legal advisors who can provide support, information, or resources. Building a coalition increases the chances of success and helps to mitigate risks. It also signals that the protagonist is not isolated, but has a network ready to back their efforts. Communication is another vital tool. The protagonist may choose to expose the employer's misdeeds through formal complaints, whistleblowing, or public disclosure. This requires skillful messaging to ensure credibility and impact, while protecting oneself from retaliation. Alternatively, they might use negotiation or legal channels to seek compensation or reinstatement, leveraging their knowledge and evidence to strengthen their position. The calculated nature of the revenge also means timing is critical. The protagonist waits for the opportune moment to act, when the employer is most vulnerable, or when the impact will be greatest. This patience reflects a long-term perspective, prioritizing effectiveness over immediate gratification. It also allows the protagonist to prepare for potential countermeasures and to maintain control over the narrative. Psychologically, this form of revenge serves multiple purposes. It provides a sense of empowerment, helping the protagonist to overcome feelings of helplessness and victimization. It also offers a way to restore self-respect and to send a clear message that betrayal will not go unanswered. The act of planning and executing revenge becomes a means of reclaiming agency and rewriting the story on one's own terms. However, calculated revenge is not without its challenges and risks. The protagonist must navigate legal and ethical boundaries, ensuring that their actions do not backfire or cause collateral damage. They must also manage their own emotions, avoiding obsession or bitterness that can consume them. Maintaining focus and balance is essential to achieving a resolution that is both satisfying and sustainable. The theme of sharp, calculated revenge adds dramatic tension and complexity to the narrative. It transforms the protagonist from a passive victim into an active agent of change, capable of influencing outcomes and challenging injustice. This transformation is often accompanied by personal growth, as the individual learns to harness their pain constructively and to channel their energy into purposeful action. In many stories, revenge is intertwined with themes of justice and redemption. The protagonist's calculated response may serve not only to punish wrongdoers, but also to restore balance and fairness. It raises questions about morality, the limits of retribution, and the possibility of forgiveness. These themes enrich the narrative, inviting reflection on the human capacity for resilience and transformation. The execution of calculated revenge often involves a series of strategic moves, each designed to build momentum and pressure. The protagonist may start with subtle actions, gathering information, sowing doubt, or undermining credibility, before escalating to more direct measures. This gradual approach maximizes impact while minimizing exposure, allowing the protagonist to stay one step ahead. Technology and social media can be powerful tools in modern revenge strategies. The protagonist might use these platforms to share their story, rally support, or expose wrongdoing. This public dimension adds a layer of complexity, as it involves managing reputation, controlling narratives, and navigating the court of public opinion. It also amplifies the reach and consequences of the revenge. Legal avenues are often a key component of calculated revenge. The protagonist may file lawsuits, seek arbitration, or engage regulatory bodies to hold the employer accountable. These formal processes require careful preparation and expert guidance, but can result in tangible outcomes such as compensation, reinstatement, or policy changes. Legal action also serves as a public record of the dispute, lending legitimacy to the protagonist's claims. Throughout the process, the protagonist must balance the desire for revenge with the need for personal well-being. Revenge can be consuming, and without careful management, it can lead to burnout or further harm. Maintaining support networks, practicing self-care, and setting clear boundaries are essential to sustaining the effort and emerging stronger. The theme of sharp, calculated revenge resonates because it taps into universal feelings of injustice and the human desire for fairness. It reflects the complexity of human emotions and the ways in which people respond to betrayal. The protagonist's journey, from victim to strategist, embodies resilience, intelligence, and courage, offering a compelling narrative of empowerment. In the broader context, this theme also critiques organizational practices and power dynamics. It exposes how institutions can fail individuals and how those individuals can reclaim power through ingenuity and determination. It challenges assumptions about passivity and victimhood, highlighting the potential for agency even in adverse circumstances. The protagonist's calculated revenge is not merely about retaliation, but about transformation. It is a process of reclaiming identity, restoring dignity, and reshaping the future. This journey involves confronting pain, harnessing strength, and navigating complexity with wisdom and resolve. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and to fight back with precision and purpose.